Recording in progress.
Kayaaní yoxatini chatlakat Johan. Ade aya Wooch in stutultuya. Chaiku ging ʼatudli de aya ʼqutí yachana. Yet Kayaaní chatlakawe aya Wooch in yejitune. Ya shukwa kelkach shahid. Jas uhan aya Wooch in yuqawul atkin. Gwallwelta kalku a hasutwa sagu wasa atwune chutlay Woochin yejitune shukwa a tlaykak inach a daat yuqagach tutlaat data tinach sahayati yan yanach tusaneiyít ya ha itikach haya ak Gunchish. Okay. So we're going to do things a little different than we have these past several weeks. Mondays have been conversation days, but we also, to let you in on a little secret if you're watching our classes, we sit here and chat for a while about questions and answers about how to engage in the conversation that we're going to have, and then the class ends up with pages of notes, but no record of what happened. And so in the spirit of sharing and making sure that we have a recording for folks to listen to, we are going to start having two ʼatsaneiyít sessions. So shukwa'a yatayach, we'll just speak and talk things out. Then when we're ready, we'll stop this recording and start a new one, which will be the actual conversation itself. So we were just talking in a class today about building registers for domains, which is exactly what we do here. A domain is a physical or cultural space where the language is used. A register is the vocabulary for that. So like if you say, I want to clean fish and cook it in a pit on the beach, like the old timers used to do, and I want to do it in the language. So we're going to have to, there's a verb for that specific way of cooking. We're going to have to figure out so then you do work to make sure you've got all the language when you go into that session so you don't run out of it. The other thing is I learned a new verb yesterday, or maybe it was today. No, it was today. And so I had a class earlier where I asked everyone, what's one new thing that you learned? And nobody even asked me. They said, is there a new thing you learned? One-way stuff.
Wasayes.
ʼatudli.átk. That's the new verb. And I will be taking suggestions on what it means. ʼatudli.átk.
Is that the one like to have room for something?
It's related to that, yes. And so what
Okay.
so ya'ak is a noun, which means a space reserved for something.
Mhm.
So then what could aya'ak be? Or I could say cha'ak.
My place.
Or you could say ach ya'ak. Haya'ak.
I'm making space.
Yes, I'm making a space for something.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. So so if you're creating a space for something to be, and it doesn't have to be anything really big. Like I'm going to clear a space for this thing to sit right here. It would be that verb. Okay, who's got a question? We're talking about Kayaaní, Yaayuki.
Blake, ḳutí.
Oh, go
ḳutí.
ahead.
Oh, we're talking
ʻatgi.
Ḳutí.
Yes.
ḳutí.
Kayaaní.
I had a question, and and I want to thank Chief Wu for sending me his response. So what I was trying to come up with, the days are we're getting more daylight every day, and he sent me the days are getting longer. I was trying to figure out what was the right way to talk about that, so I ended up saying kaginach ye adagan itinach lakat yayagi, because I couldn't figure out how to say the days are getting longer. I just said growing, like the days are growing more sunny every day. So I think I made it too long, you know?
Okay. Oops.
I was talking about more sunshine every day, getting more sunny more every day.
Ah. Yay. Anybody have any ideas?
ʼatudli.átk.
Kayaaní.
Yeah,
The days are getting longer. ʼatudli.átk.
Sheesh.
It's under yacht, long of time.
So is that in the verb dictionary?
Yes, it's the progressive imperfective yet. It's getting longer time, the days.
Yay.
yet.
Yeah, and she would say ya yagi ya yina at, and so I appreciate him sending that to me. But I was thinking of it. I don't know why. You know, it's hard to sometimes think like how you would say it to find the right way to put it all together. That's all.
Donna Kate, which dictionary is that in?
The online one. What's that called?
Online verb dictionary.
Is it story?
The verb database.
Yeah, I look at it all the time, but I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, so let's look at some examples of this verb, including the verb database. So, ironically, some of the words are very long. There's a scanner error on this page. So you have yayet. So this is for something to be long. So wusani yayet, khas yayet. And so like usually of stick-like objects. Then you have this one, which is also tall. So dishikhawu yanachet. So their hair is getting long. Jinkat khachus yekliat. It is a 10-foot long pole. So if you specify like some sort of measurement, do notice that it switches to yekliyat, which other similar types of concepts will. Flexible objects, including ropes, taskashiyat, it's a long thread, shakaskashiyat, the black seaweed is long. Then we get to long time. So this does get yi as a thematic prefix, which is time. So you got yagi, yiyayat, the days are long. Keshinayat, that's just not long ago, which is correct. But anybody want to tell me what kind of mode this is for 2,000 bonus points?
Habitual. A mode, yeah.
Yes. And it needs one more word.
Repetitive.
Motion.
Hmm?
I don't know.
Recessive.
I will. One word that was very softly spoken in the room was habitual, which is acceptable to the panel of me.
Sometimes.
But it's missing a word. What word can we add to it?
Is there a progressive habitual?
No.
Repetitive.
Well, habitual is, repetitive and habitual are different things. So the other thing I'm trying to do here is drop things that I think are not necessary. So instead of saying perfective, habitual, we're just going to say habitual. Instead of saying repetitive and perfective, we're just going to say repetitive.
Oh, a negative.
It's a negative.
Negative.
Habitual. You guys are so positive. Just don't want to ruin this positive energy. So, kashinayet can also be interpreted as it had not gotten to be a long time yet. Or it has not. Wasayik qiyat or wasayik oyat, how long is it going to be? The saying part isn't really in there for the sample sentence, which is fine.
I think I've heard an word ʼayeiguat.
Yeah, for a little while.
Yeah.
So then it's got the TL apostrophe, which means not, yes. Which, okay, we'll get to that too. Because we're doing some time things, which is always important. Okay. So now let's go look under yacht, and I think we'll find yacht in here as well. So scrolling down.
This online one is Hagishawu,
Yes.
is Carrie Eggleston. So let's give her credit. Hagishawu.
So here's an object to belong. Here's something to belong. Here's time or physical object. Here's a length of time. Something to be so long, and for something to be so long. The first one stick like. So this is the one we like. Yayinayet. It's getting longer. The days are getting longer. So this would be where we're at right now as we start leaning towards ʼatsaneiyít. And then you could also say ʼatudli.átk, like in the terms of storytelling. It wasn't for a long time, right? So this could be they went to this place and they didn't stay there very long. They were on an island, but it wasn't very long. And you go to the next thing. Okay, so you do have yinayetich. It's always Walmart day away. Walmart day away will cook a chilk. Yinayetich away at yanatun. When my grandma goes to Walmart, she shops for a long time, every time. But then you could say tesh yinayetich. It hasn't been long yet, which is also not long ago. So then you have yacht, which there's only one example in here, but you could say chayikuwat, I think is how it is. Not long, Yaksha?
I think Yeshnau Chedach and Hosh. What's the oratory one? Words. Or not oratory. Just
Two Naguyas.
yeah, I studied one of them.
So then if we just want to go look for some yacht things, just for fun. So yacht is the name of a gooseberry, which is long ponytail, which I always thought was a cool word. Yacht is the name of the mosquito eater. It means a mosquito with long legs.
Dragon? No, not the dragon.
It's that's that one.
The mosquito eater.
Yeah, mosquito eater.
Oh, it's called mosquito eater?
Yeah.
I don't know if
I
there's.
thought it was a daddy long leg.
Oh, well, the spidery thing.
Yeah, because that's what eats mosquitoes and you can't.
But well, there's two.
There's the flying one?
The wings.
Yeah, the one with the wings.
I don't know
looks
what
like
that
What else do they call
And
them?
they look like a daddy long leg.
There's another name for those.
Yeah.
What's the other English name for the mosquito eater?
I don't know.
The mayfly?
Mayfly, I think so. Yeah.
It's like this.
Mosquito.
Daddy long leg.
Well, daddy longlegs is it's like they're very similar looking things, but one flies and one crawls around, and they're both harmless, but they're both a little scary. Yacht is a long feather. That's a name for a Native American.
Crane flies.
Crane flies. That's also a Kagwantan name. Kayaaní is an old name for the lower 48. I think that's a cool name for lower 48 because it just gives it all the Native Americans. Wakuyatsa, which is, you can ask, that could be a question, for how long? But it could also be a statement. Wakuyatsa aye haswuti. So there's a couple of these time references that work as questions. Kun gausa, that's a question. Kun tauksa, kun yakirhanaksa. On their own, those are questions. In the context of a story, if I were to say, at kach ye haswuti, kun yakisa aye haswuti, aka adachaswukuch. In that context, I said they were on an island. How many days were they on the island? That's not a question. And then the next one was they left in a boat. So the second one I would translate as for many days. So same with this one. Wakuyatsa. As if I just said that, I'm asking a question for how long. But if I'm telling some story, then they went to the mountaintop. Wakuyatsa ayehasvuti. They were there for some time. It's interesting. Okay, let's find. There's a couple others I was trying to find in here. Oh, I guess, is it a CH? Yeah. ʼatudli.átg, tukatash, are short pants or capri pants. I know there's another short one that I'm. Wooch, I think that's what I'm looking for. So ʼayeyi Wooch is a short time. So then here you have this yacht for long and wat or yacht for short. Wooch is short as an adjective. Okay, I think that's it. So then there is an example. So Wenaski uski hook, Kashin kakwanik late kak enach, Klinget enach ayin kakwanik, Hoots ayakut kakatishawat, Yata adachawe, Yaguk atank, Kakwan ish, Kashakshani has to eat. Ya yidetka yatak, Glade ye yakanashani, Kayagi yanayet. So those are lines from an upcoming project. And so this was saying, now the winter, I think this might be ʼatudli.átg. I gotta take a look at the story. ʼatudli.átg, gleit ye yakanashani, Kayagi yanayet. So the snow is melting and the days are getting longer. We have one of those. Okay. Any other questions? I saw a hand up a long time ago. Yes.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I'll put my hand up.
Yes, kaku. Oh, I think
Dak asa. Kache ya yageyi kachu. Ya kache yageyi.
Oh, kasha. I've always heard yagi kadan. I don't know, like kasha. I don't know if that's specific. I don't know, but I'm sure you could say it. It would come after, like ya daat kasha.
And it's sheesh.
And kadan. So those are adjectives for being beautiful. Yagi kadan. Beautiful day. Now we gotta sing it like Bono and U2. Isn't that one of their songs? Yagi kadan. Okay. We'll do that later. That's for the next Tlingit karaoke night. Okay, Cheat Woo and then Skydo. Unless you got another one. Okay.
I was just going to ask about when you're talking about a lot of something, what's the difference between ʼatlain, Héen, and yagé or kugé?
Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. I was told, but then I've seen examples that go kind of against this a little bit. If it's Héen, there should be a head. So there should be things with heads. So like people or animals or and because the sh, it has to do with a bunch of heads moving together. So that's how it was explained to me. But then I've heard, high fluency speakers use it to talk about like a whole bunch of sand or something. I'm like, the sand doesn't have a head. And so don't overthink it, but that's sort of the general rule. And ʼatudli.átg works really well for things that don't have heads. But as far as when to use which one, I would say yagay is least common, because I think if you just said yagay kate, or we kate yagay, I guess people would might understand that you're saying there's lots of dogs. But they'd probably just say shia de Héen kate, and that would be more clear. I've rarely heard or seen yagay used to talk about a whole bunch of things, but I have seen it like someone will list off all their clan houses, like, all the clan houses that are in the area, and say, Yeoye kuge ha-hitki, hanaka hitki. That's how many houses we have. Or they'll say, I think Nora one time said, Yeoye kuge yukatangi. That's how big my speaking is. So I think that one is generally used more for size than for plurality. But I know it can be used to talk about many, but I would think ʼatudli. And then I guess also another guideline is if the verb is talking about there's a lot of them, then you'll end up probably with shaya de Héen. But if you're saying a lot of them are doing something, you'd probably end up with ʼatudli. ʼatudli kate, ate a lot of dogs are going over there. There's a dog right there, so that's why that's my sample sentence.
Just give me the last one again. If the verb is talking about.
So like if the center of the sentence is, if the meaning is focused on there being a lot of them, then you'll probably end up towards shaya de Héen, right? Okaya shaya de Héen. There's a whole bunch of them over there. But if the verb is if the meaning is really focused on what they're doing, then you probably end up with ʼatudli, or you could have shaya de Héen. Shaya de Héen ku'u has asteich. Lots of people are fishing. But ʼatudli can also be. That's one. Yeah, that's, you have sort of guidelines for I think some of these things, but yeah. I do.
Yeah, I had a question. I always know that we can say like do your best or hang in there, but how do I say, I couldn't find in the verb dictionary, I want to do my best.
Oh, you could probably say ʼatwasagu Kayaaní ʼatsaneiyít. I want to do a good job.
Okay.
I want to do it well. And then
Tsuyeyanaka?
ʼatwasagu Kayaaní ʼatsaneiyít. Which I could type for folks. It feels like there was some speaker who was sort of saying something similar. Something like, I always try to do a good job. It seemed like I heard that somewhere.
I want to try to do a good job.
Yeah. But then with these things, you're always cautious, because like if you say it publicly, you might sound like you're bragging.
Okay.
I always do so great. Right? So like it's just always like, it feels like the language is always just like, careful.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Like you got to be proud of yourself and talk about doing a good job. But everything I try to do it well. So Kayaaní seems like it leans itself towards that kind of stuff.
Like well, kind of.
But yeah, like there was a dance group that was composing songs, and they would always like kind of name themselves and say "Yugo Ayahwan." And I was like, you guys can't do that.
Yeah.
Because be strong and be brave and hype yourself up backstage, but don't do it in front of people.
Oh, you're not allowed to do
there's whole songs and stuff that exist for getting people. They're like called pep songs, right?
Yeah, to get like amped up.
Yeah, it's like we gotta go canoe for a long ways, or we gotta go fight these guys, or
Mhm.
we gotta go pull a hamstring in hockey. It's cheap.
Senior league is gonna be the end of you.
I'm in the. Anyways, 52.
Senior.
It's the Kayaaní League. It was 35 plus, and it dropped from 40 plus. I'm just saying. Bring it back up. The young guy. It's like, is there a 45? Okay. Yikta 2.
Geez. All right, I have 3. Ask them and then you can do whatever. I think, or is it okay to say use hyperbole, like my face is freezing when it's really not?
Yeah.
Okay. Also,
Do we know how to say that?
what's that?
Do we know how to say it?
I was making it up.
Say what? Or
That's a good prediction. Okay, let's start. Let's just say, I think that, okay, I want to shift it a little bit. How do I say my hands are cold?
Jin say what?
This part is correct.
Could we use t?
Well, maybe no, but maybe
Isn't teak like freezing, like ice?
like my.
So cold, like kusiyat?
Because if you said ʼutlik, I would think, like if you said that of someone, I'd be like, oh crap, they're dead, right? Okay. We gotta buy a class. Anybody want to buy a classifier? Yeah, Han Solo. Han Solo, what's a dick?
We get a phone call.
It's a plus I classifier. Okay, so there's something in an eye.
You didn't even give us time to say that.
Anyone like to buy a consonant?
ʼatudli.átk?
That is close, but that is not it.
ʼatudli.átk.
That is not as close.
Daat.
I don't know. It's either gonna be D, S, or L.
Well, we just shot down S. We just shot down L.
D.
It's not D.
No.
Lee.
Shut down L.
Oh,
ʼatudli.átk?
Okay, so body parts to be cold is ʼwudzi'at. Achus ʼwudzi'at. Achluk ʼwudzi'at. Now, I think there might be a verb for your face to be cold specifically. So let me check on that. We're just gonna make sense.
I saw one in there, but it has a ya in it.
Yes. So you'd say ʼchatyaw-dzi'at. So it does use the same dzi'at thing. You might be able to say ʼchatyu-dzi'at, but I've heard ʼachjin-wud-dzi'at. So the wud-dzi'at is for a body part. But then you say ʼchatyaw-dzi'at. You can, and now if you wanted to, like this would get people laughing. So here's ʼchatwud-dzi'at. Because a lot of times if you do like hyperbole, you're trying to be funny sometimes.
Oh.
So if you said ʼchatyaw-dzi'at, and then I would say gwash qonei yanaltik. Maybe it's starting to freeze.
Lu yadnatsik.
ʼatudli.átk.
so that's maybe it's starting to freeze.
Thinking of frostbite. Sometimes we say my hands are frozen.
Yun would get to. But again, like context, would want to probably see your hands and make sure that everything's actually okay.
Is there a reason why you deleted the ʼatudli.átg too?
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, it went down. It was down. I had deleted it. I deny these allegations.
I can only
Supreme
see
Court will back me up.
what you share on screen. So if I am mistaken,
Okay.
I wouldn't trust the Supreme Court myself.
The Supreme Court. Okay.
Are they supreme? Okay, sorry. Oh wait, there were 2 more questions for Victor too.
Do we have any wording or phrasing for temperature in degrees or Celsius, Fahrenheit?
That's a good question.
That was my question. And I want below 0.
Oh, okay.
Helpful.
So I mean, we're probably going to say degrees for now. I mean, I don't know if you folks have heard anything for this.
And what about negatives?
I don't know how to do negatives. I would say Jinkat degrees atsaneiyít.
Under.
Yeah. Because you say below, right? Below 0. Now there's not unit in the language.
0 yeast.
On
0 yeast.
Here's how I learned how to say 0.
Nothing
A
counts.
non-countable thing.
Here's how other people like to say 0.
It's nothing.
I learned in math that 0 is not nothing, though. Correct. So, ʼatudli.átk is the thing that's not counted.
And the other ʼatudli.átg is just nothing.
Nothing. So you could say ʼatudli.átgi, I think could work for below 0. But you know, there's this language gathering coming up. Maybe we could chat about it there. And I'll ask them, because we were talking about also, my brain was getting kamlichis with circumference and
Radius.
Tlingit has words for hoop-like objects to be so big and spherical objects to be so big, and those are different terms. So do that another time. But yeah, so I would probably say Jinkat ʼatudli.átgi yewe. I would say ʼadudli.átgi. That's what I would propose. Then we don't have to say degrees. But then we do have a big problem here. We have to unite the measurements somehow. I don't know. Celsius and Fahrenheit, right? I would.
How about Héen ist techni, when water freezes?
Yeah. Jinkat. Huh. Okay. Get away. You okay?
But I would say, like in English, a lot of times we don't say degrees. We just say 10 below.
Mm-hmm. Jinkat ʼatudli.átgi.
Although across the border that can get confusing. It's 10 degrees.
We'll invent our own.
In Alaskan English, we say.
So we got DACA degrees and.
Oh yeah. There you go. Well, we have Ginjichuan,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Wash down. Come on. Is there a high tone in wash down? I think maybe in the A. Wash down.
Is that Washington?
Well, yeah, it comes from Boston.
Oh, I didn't know that one. Washington, Quan.
But we're like the last country that uses Fahrenheit. Everyone else uses Celsius.
We really need to stop. And with feet, okay. There are rulers that exist that are in tenths of a foot. Because in the Reagan era, I think we were going to switch over to the metric system. And then he stopped it because he's a movie star. And the compromise was you can use tenths of a foot. So we had to use this thing to measure how wide the river was, and then convert tenths of a foot into inches so that we can convert it into metric so that we could do the math. Anyways, okay, we're getting pulled off the hook.
Last question.
Okay.
You know, maybe I'm being lazy, but I was just wondering if there might be a way to shorten the "could we screen share, please" sentence.
What about kashuk khawaki?
Kashuk.
No, just say kashuk khawaki. Whoever wants to screen share.
Ah.
Fine.
Please write that.
Put it in the.
Hey, now I have to write everything for you guys?
Ḳutí.
Kayaaní. That's where that comes from. The eye of the smoke, the eye of the sweat lodge. Okay. Skydive.
Oh yeah. I was trying to figure out a way to talk about like the weather being like unpredictable, or I didn't know if there was any way to say that and didn't tell me, or like maybe powerful. I don't know.
Well, I think you could say something like Heshwutusku Wasaka ḳutí.
So wudusku is like to know it, right?
Like nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. I guess I should get one of these things.
Nobody knows what it will be.
And there are things you could say. We were talking about this. Okay. I have a question for you folks. What are these things?
Now.
Directionals.
From now and to until now.
Down. Dach is from, right? And then day is to.
Or until now.
Ooh.
Yeah, what?
I thought it was a song.
We already did the song. It was, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Is that what we What? Okay, I'm not gonna. Okay.
Dasa.
Yeah, Pagu, do you have another question?
It's not so much a question, but a reflection back onto when we were talking about temperature and how to measure it. Would it be more, well, in terms of the language, easier to say so cold that water freezes, so cold that salt water freezes, so cold that, you know, to measure it in that way?
I think it might be, right? Like, it's a good question, right? Because people use degrees to like help them prepare, right? Like I always think of living in Fairbanks, and it was 40 below. Someone was telling me a story. They said it was 40 below for like 10 days, and then it went to 20 or 10 below Fahrenheit, and it felt so warm to them that they didn't wear a hat, and they're carrying their baby, and their baby didn't wear a hat, and the baby got frostbite on the ears, and they felt so terrible. But then that way those numbers are there, so you're like, oh yeah, it is 20 below still, right? And so yes, and so maybe we can come up with maybe we'll do an exercise where we come up with a temperature chart that we can sort of rough out in terms of what happens at these temperatures. Shashkwan. You have a hand up over there where you're not.
Good task
Um,
for today, Courtney.
okay, yes. So I was going to ask how to switch, like I know how to say it is whatever weather right now. And then I was wondering how to make it, like if there was a formula or like a certain just like word flop or word switch out for making it has been. But then would that be the yidadide?
Well, yes, you could say siudaku sitan yidadide. It's been raining up until now. And then so you could say, there's different ways you could do it. And beginning Tlingit shows us a formula, which was, you could say tatke audagan, yayagitsu audagan, right? That one, it doesn't need to switch to an imperfective. And so not all of them do, but some of them would. So you could say, ayaudati siudakwisitan. So you could say, for example, audagan tatke yidetqua great darkness tan. So that would be, yesterday it was sun shining, but now it is starting to snow.
Yeah.
So you can use nastan for darknesstan for it's beginning to precipitate. But yeah, so the answer is basically perfective, imperfective if there is one, and then future.
Okay.
And then you can say yidat khoa, but now, or you could say yidat dide or yidat didach. Audagan tatkeka audagan yayagi, gwashya yidat didach out, ye aguch dagan dich yagi khanach. Sun shining yesterday, sun shining today. Maybe it will sunshine for 2 more days.
For 2 more days.
Okay.
But that last one's got to be in the future. Idatidach, ye agurtagan, dechigichanach.
That's how you say it for 2 days.
Chanach. Chanach is like over a period of time. You can use kanach as well.
So the until now, yidadide is it like until now implies that it's changing. Correct? Or
I would usually interpret, well, not all the time, it depends, right? So like, it rains a lot, so they say, akakwan ani. One time, we had, I think, 40 straight days of sunshine. And I was working with Marge and George. And I said, so I said, it's really sunshining. Maybe it's never going to rain again. And I was just being funny. And Marge and George they were like very, very religious. And Marge goes, it's the end of days. You got to get your Bible. And I was like, oh, God. That was this conversation. Don't tease people. Don't tease like old thinking people about a lot of sunshine when they live here. Because like, they do freak out. But so like, if you were saying Audagan Yidati day. It's been sunny until now. It doesn't really say anything else about right now.
Okay, so it doesn't necessarily imply it's changing.
Yeah, it's just been like, and you could say, Nusk talk shuhi hidachaya, since the time of 3 years ago. And then there's some other big thing that you're talking about, but I don't think you're gonna have a weather pattern with that. But it'd be something like, I've been thinking about this, or I've been sad since that time, or I've been happy, whatever.
Okay, sheesh.
Conversation time?
Hey, just quickly, do you know how to say snow pants?
We say talk to tukatash, I think. We got that one from Florence.
What was the question? What's to say snow what?
Snow pants.
Talk to tukatash.
I think so. Let me double check it.
Sheesh.
I think in beginning Tlingit it says tle tukatash or tle tukatashli or
So in this one, you have talk to tukatash.
Yeah, talk to tukatash. So the ones in the winter pants. I do think if you just, we could try and push plate tukatash. That just sounds like white pants to me.
oh, actually, I think I did see that phrase in another resource. Gosh, what was it now? It was like a coloring book that one of the Tlingit coloring books
Oh, cool.
that somebody produced. I forget now. I was looking over it a couple of weeks ago, but in there they had a picture of snow pants, and then I think it just said "Tle tukatash"
Okay.
on that one. But anyway, I don't remember who came up with these phrases. I could take a look, but I don't, it's at school.
Okay. Yeah, these are the ones that Kakatlat came up with. Well, she did this one years ago. We were doing this language in the home book, which kind of stalled. I don't know. I'll put it up so you folks can see it, because it's got names for like, the idea was to have like a little flip book in every room of the house with common nouns and phrases for every room, which is still a good idea, and so we should resurrect it. Talk to tukatash, I think is what she said. There might be a high tone on two. I don't see one.
Kashuk Kawagi.
Ah.
I found the language in the home book online somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Plate Tukata. Yes, the coloring books from Yakutat.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. We have 20 minutes. Kayaaní.